Hit the go live.
Well, hello everyone. It's a great Saturday today out here on the ridge. The sun's shining, and we had about 6 inches of snow last night. I thought spring came earlier here, but I guess here the snow comes in March. We had no snow in January, February, December, really to speak of, but the snow came in March. So, hi to Happy Thoughts. Happy Thoughts is always the first one on.
Hi, Sheila.
Sheila, we say hi, we send you our love. And Sheila is in the UK. She,
Can I interrupt you?
yeah,
Hi,
go ahead. Lisa?
Yeah, Lisa's on.
Lisa's on, okay. So there's Lisa from New Zealand. So we have people from all over the world here. So what time is it in New Zealand, Lisa? You let us know.
9 p.m.
I know Happy Thoughts said it's 8:30 p.m. when our show starts in the UK where she is. So yeah, so welcome to the show. And it's a great show today. We have a lot on. I'm going to start with something though that was brand new to me. I don't know if you guys watched my last video, and we couldn't figure out. If you've been watching XJW channels, you'll notice a lot of the YouTube creators are saying they're having trouble with views. So my good wife did a lot of research, and so we made that video, and we talked about it. I thumbnailed it. What the hell? That was actually my good wife's idea. The thumbnail impression got a lot of hits, but this video, here's what happens. This is the Backstage Creators platforms. We get fireworks. You see that? The fireworks every time we go on this. So how YouTube rates you is out of your last 10 videos, this one was number one, and it gives you your statistics. You know, number 10, number one. And on this video, we talked about likes, and I didn't realize how important the liking and commenting really is, I guess, for channels, these niche channels like our channels. If we don't like and comment, then the new YouTube algorithm, it runs an experiment with each video now. And it sends it to a few people, because YouTube's resources are limited. Let's face it, this is what's happening. It's bombarded. 20% of the YouTube content out there is AI driven, and there's a lot of AI slop out there just to make money off airtime. And there's no commenting. You can't even comment on some of that stuff. And then there's some good AI. There's some people that just don't want to show their faces. And we find that XJW community because of the shunning, right? So I can understand that there would be a lot that would want to use AI content, because now, hey, I can make a video. I don't have to use my voice. I don't have to show my face. And I got a lot to say about Watchtower. And so they use the tools available and their AI, and there's some good content out there. So, but we're a very small part of it. Us XJW community, we're very, very small. In the YouTube doesn't even really hardly know us. I think it's kind of getting to know us. It's the robots. And the video we did yesterday was a really good script. It didn't knock YouTube or anybody. It just says, hey, we understand that things are changing. And what do we have to do to roll with the changes on YouTube? Well, YouTube's algorithm now is it tests each video, and if it doesn't get likes and comments and stuff, It's not going to push the video. And you remember the days if you were shooting for all these subscribers? Well, it doesn't care anymore. Unless your subscriber hits notification, so the bell rings, it doesn't really care. It's not going to push the video out to those subscribers necessarily. Because if a subscriber doesn't watch one of your videos a couple of times, YouTube gets the idea that that subscriber doesn't want the video. You know, just the other night we were watching. We watch Newhart. It's it's just a sitcom. It's light kind of comedy at night. You know, it's good for old people, I guess. Dick Newman. No, what's his name? Oh, Dick Loudon. Yeah, but yeah. But anyways, we didn't watch it a few times, and all of a sudden it disappeared on our feed, like completely disappeared. We had to go and type Newhart in and get it back up, and then watch a few shows to get it back showing up on our feed. So things have changed in YouTube. I want to say this for all you guys out there that are creators in the XJW community. This is what's happening, and I guess the important thing is, and this video that we ran yesterday is kind of an experiment, because a lot of people liked, because of the content of the video, it's about YouTube, right? We explained the algorithm, and a lot of people as a result liked, commented some really good comments, and multiple comments. There was like 541 likes. There's 159 comments right now on this. And so YouTube is pushing it. This is a good experiment. So for all of us XJW creators out there, this is what I guess we're going to have to do as viewers, because a lot of times I'm guilty myself being a passive viewer, not even hitting the like, you know, just kind of thumbing over someone's content and listening to it for a while and not even giving them a like. Shame on me. You know, that's what I say. So that's why I did this video. It was an eye-opener, and that's why I'm talking about it on the news today. So we're going to move on. We have a lot of people on. Lisa from New Zealand, and it's 8:06 a.m. So there we go. 8:06 a.m. in New Zealand. That's what Lisa's saying. And the future looks bright. Okay. And Happy Thoughts there is like 8:30 p.m. So that's the spectrum all over the world. Thanks for being with us, everyone. Lynn Set, thanks for being with us today. Yeah, algorithms are the key, and that's what we're learning more about here as we move forward. Okay, so the next the real news. This is some news that that was actually, we ran a couple of times because it's been on the news for so much. Place of worship vandalized for a second time. Graffiti sprayed on the worship on the wall, the Kingdom Hall. You know, they had dog feces posted through the door, along with a threatening letter. It sounds like someone's really out to get them in that area. I can't believe the news coverage this is getting, but that's on the news. Dry here. Now, this is another news. We ran that last week. I'm not going to run it again, but this was such an important talk. I noticed a lot of other creators made some videos on this, what Sanderson is saying here. He's calling it a victory. So we ran a separate video on that, but I just want to talk about it. You know, he boasted about the legal win in Norway, but noted the state had appealed and urged members to pray for another victory. Nothing about the children, not praying about the children. You know, let's pray for the children. Not once have Jehovah's Witnesses talked about the children in these court cases. They've never once said we have an issue, or they don't want to admit that they have an issue. So they skirt it, or do they really feel like they're doing things the right way? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. If you have a good comment, I'll put it up. But I don't know if he knows he's just skirting it and he's trying to build a victory before. Like, does he actually believe that Jehovah's actually sided with them? Mark Sanderson? Okay. Well, while you think about this, Mark Sanderson, he's been in charge of Norway since the beginning. And I've been wanting to play this commercial. We've been running stuff on Mark Sanderson forever. And this just blew me apart when he did his victory dance. They actually did their victory dance. This was done in Chile. And everyone was clapping. We won the appeal. The state has to pay us money back. Everything's grand. Then everyone starts clapping, and then he starts, he's standing there just absorbing it all. And then he says, kind of in a low tone, and they appealed it, so we're going to the Supreme Court. So pray for us. And then everyone starts clapping again. Pray for us. Anyways, here's what I have to say, and then we're going to get on to some news here. Just giving you guys a chance. He's clapping there. I was playing it here today. I'm going to throw it on. Here it is, face to face. Could you imagine if you could get Mark Sanderson face to face?
Hey, yo! Here we go. Microphone check. 1, 2, 1, 2. I said microphone check. 1, 2. Can't nobody out here do it like me. Ain't nobody out here winning like me. Can't nobody out here do it like me. Just like me, like me. Can't nobody out here do it like me. Ain't nobody out here winning like me. Can't nobody out here do it like me. Just like me, like me. I'm one of a kind, I'm like a rare breed. A breath of fresh air, you can see me. People stand up just to greet me. Role model, kids wanna be me. Listen now, later you'll believe me. Got you under my spell, the whole thing was easy. I just come and wink my eye like a genie. Put my crown on, y'all little peasant can king me. I'm irreplaceable, the different one. Since I was born, I was the chosen one. Every time I speak, you know it's unique. Might go over your head, my words are kinda too deep. Man, I'm wise like an eyelid. Summa the smoke. Yeah, I wait. I'm still waiting. Nobody do it like me. Nobody do it like me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, act like you know. It's going down, I'm your captain. It's going down, I'm your captain. It's going down, I'm your captain. It's going down, I'm your captain now. It's going down, it's going down, it's going down, it's going down, it's going down. I'm your captain now. It's going down, it's going down, it's going down, it's going down, it's going down. This is how you start a fresh rap with a new track. Put your seatbelts on, prepare for the impact. In fact, I did that with less than a 6.
Oh, that was just good timing for a washroom break. So thank you for putting up with that. But, there's a lot of truth to that song. By the way, that's a licensed song. We get a copyright on our channel at the end of the video, and then we have to clear it. It's a bunch of paperwork you got to fill out and put your license in, basically. But that's standard for this industry. So this, getting back to the Mark Sanderson, pray for another victory. what a lot of us see, and we're going to talk tonight about a member of parliament now in the UK that's an ex-Jehovah's Witness. We're actually going to read his story, and that's what a lot of tonight's program is going to be about. So we have all of this stuff happening in parliament. We have Norway. We have this opening up all over the world. It's like a domino effect. And that's what we're seeing now, is the dominoes starting to fall. And it's interesting that in this article we're going to read tonight, it's Sam Carling. He's the MP. He calls for action on Jehovah's Witnesses. That's the one that we're going to talk about here in just a bit. So before we go there, this article is in the news. A high court authorizes blood transfusion for a 16-year-old pregnant Jehovah's Witness girl. And this is recent news, folks. This is March 6th news, 2026. This is reaching the courts all over. This high court authorized, provided as a last resort, blood transfusions, treatments to a pregnant minor against the wishes of the minor and her parents, who are Jehovah's Witnesses. So you have this minor, 16-year-old, who's pregnant, and you have the parents, and they all want to refuse the blood transfusion. So therefore, the unborn baby could die. So, delivering the judgment for the High Court, Mr. Justin Mark Heslin explained that the right to life is on top of the pyramid of rights. And it is very much through that lens that I hope that the minor can see the outcome of today's application. Put otherwise, this court cannot countenance otherwise avoidable serious injury, including multi-organ failure and or death, to this already vulnerable minor. So then they give the background. A 16-year-old female was 37 weeks pregnant, and she got into the hospital. She had some issues. I'm not going to get into it all. The High Court, they didn't want blood, so it got to the High Court, the judge. And, it's the same old story, folks. If you don't take the blood, the best they can do is with blood in certain circumstances. Some circumstances they can use expanders and different things, but sometimes they can't. And especially when it comes to C-sections and stuff like that. So accordingly, the High Court granted the relief sought and wished the minor and her loved ones well. So we see this happening all over, folks. It's this one was in Europe. Ireland. This is Irish news, Irish legal news. So this is in Ireland, this particular one. Okay, so this tab, I'm not going to cover this. We covered it last time a little bit. I don't know if I can blow it up. No, but I'm going to, can I go back? Yeah. I'll share the tab. It's Raven Tree Frog's post about Jehovah's Witnesses and Watchtower in Canada. And it's an aspect that doesn't get enough attention. And then looking at the spreadsheets, there's something in the spreadsheets that don't add up. It looks like Watchtower is not filing, has not been filing in certain years. And I guess we could ask why. So it would be good if we could get some XJWs to email us, talk to us, who could help us understand some of these tax returns, T30, 10 returns, line 5050. I'm not qualified really to talk about a lot of this stuff because I'm not an accountant. And if there is someone that knows Canadian accounting, this is what's publicized. So what can happen is, as an XJW community or as individuals, we can actually put a valid letter in and ask some valid questions. because it invites you to these tax places that you go to. The Charity Canada, it talks about Watchtower, so it invites comments. Okay, we're going to move on. Again, I'll have links to all of this. This is an old one. It got in my feed somehow, but it's back in 2018. This guy was setting fire to Kingdom Halls. And then this one was the fire scorches the roof of Portland Church. We ran a video on that, and I don't think that one was vandalism. I think it was just some electrical thing. It was in the roof. And then we have this one. Oh yeah, this came up in the news again. The dog poo keeps coming up. It's just amazing how stuff like that comes up.
And it was 2 attacks 2 weeks apart or a week apart.
Yeah, it was a week apart. It came up. Here it is. The second one: man arrested after place of worship sent threats. So they caught the guy, and then he was let go.
And a week later, the hall was vandalized.
Yeah, a week later it was vandalized again.
So did they get the right guy?
I don't know. The detectives have appealed for anyone with more information, dash cam footage or anything. So I guess that's why they run the news. JW Kingdom Hall, it's big news, eh? Let's move on. Memorial, this is JW News. We're doing all the news, right? So the memorial of Jesus' death, April 2nd. I don't go to any of the meetings. I don't know about you guys. Let me go back to the comment section. Anybody online? Did they go back to the meetings? Some people go to the memorial just to show a face because you want to talk to your families and hey, it's nice to see you. You want to connect with your JW relatives, perhaps. That's one of the places that shows you're kind of still, you're not completely out, even though you don't go to any of the meetings. Let's say you zoom in, or you might pretend to zoom in. I could see that happening with lots of people. Okay. Yeah, if you don't go to the memorial, it's a huge thing. It's like you died. If you're a Jehovah's Witness and you miss the memorial, this is a huge thing. People, everyone goes to the memorial. So you'll see videos on that, different creators. I remember when I first missed that first memorial, and Shauna might remember, and my daughter phones me and wants me to come to the assembly hall for some memorial or some special talk or something. And so I did meet her there, and I did say hi, and I think I sat down for a minute or two, and then I left. And that was the end of it. Never ever went back. But that was like 2012 when I was just left, the year I left. But the Jehovah's Witnesses always feel hopeful. They're always so hopeful. Oh, he hasn't died yet. Look at there's Johnny. Johnny came through the door. He's here at the memorial. We all thought he was dead. Like they talk kind of like that. They talk like you're dead when you're dead spiritually. And if you're dead spiritually, to them, you're dead. You're a goner. You're kind of, it kind of justifies in their brains. And I know this because I was a Jehovah's Witness. I did this for 30 years. So I know. And if anybody else out there, you want to talk about that. Yeah, that's the thing. If you don't go to the memorial, it's like you're dead.
Born at JW.
Yeah.
Said, I ain't going to JW Black Mass.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's kind of what I wanted to say on this memorial thing. I don't know if it's still like that. Maybe if it's optional and you go to the memorial, you're still not dead. But 2012, back in those days, that's back a few years, right? 12 years. It was pretty serious. Unless you were sick or in the hospital, or everyone knew everyone's business, so it was hard to sneak out, right? and everyone's doing head counts, and elders are at the door counting everyone coming in, and the memorial, they like to use those numbers. Jehovah's Witnesses use those numbers to state how big their religion is, those memorial numbers. And a lot of them are just, they're fictitious. Now, in Norway, they pay so much a seat. And I'm going to be curious to talk to anybody out there from Norway if that knows. Might have to ask Miss Usato or someone like that on Avoid JW. But if Norway pays for the head count at the memorial, or there's kind of an auditor, from what I understand, in Norway that audits these religions, and maybe and it sounds like they have the right to look at records and go to meetings, and they audit the religions to get an idea of the average attendance, and that's what I think they're paying on, because they pay so much a seat. And that's why Jehovah's Witnesses are fighting Norway so hard. They pay so much a seat to a charity religion. Do they pay it at the memorial attendance, or did they pay it on an average? Be interesting. Okay, well, we're going to move into the news we've been waiting for. It's Sam Carling, MP, and this is off Watching Watchtower. I'm going to put the link there. I'm not going to play this whole video. This is a 31-minute video, but we are going to look at this whole article, this BBC article. I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. I'm going to read the whole thing, and it's an interesting article. Think about it. This guy he's the youngest member on Parliament, and one of his big things is these Jehovah's Witnesses. Why are they getting charity? Just like what went on in Norway. Just like what's going on in Norway right now. So I'm going to play a little bit of this. The volume should come up. We're going to play maybe just a few seconds of it here.
Relevant Select Committee should consider a thorough deep dive into the Charity Commission's approach to safeguarding issues. Finally, and briefly, I want to touch on a third issue: safeguarding and coercion in medical settings. Again, the witnesses are the clearest example. Many people will know that their religion teaches not to accept blood transfusions. That's described as a personal choice they make. But when the consequence for not taking that choice is shunning and the permanent cutting off of family and friends, is it a choice? Maybe, and religious freedoms of adults to make medical decisions must always be allowed. Similarly, people must always be free to request visits from religious ministers during medical treatment or a hospital stay. But in the witnesses, requests for religious ministers will be met with the arrival of a hospital liaison committee. This is a group of religious elders whose role is simple: enforce the rules on blood transfusions. They will help patients by advocating for their personal choice not to accept blood. They will always claim that decisions are for the patient to make. But the Elders' Handbook, which I believe I have here somewhere, there it is, the Elders' Handbook clearly states that witnesses should be strongly encouraged to fill out durable powers of attorney for someone else to refuse blood on their behalf. And either way...
Did you guys see that? He showed up the Elders' Handbook. Okay.
But the Elders' Handbook, which I believe I have here somewhere, there it is, the Elders' Handbook...
The shepherding the flock of God. So this guy's got the Elders' Handbook, and he can see all of the loopholes in there. And he's taken this up with Parliament. This thing on blood, this is one of the best, I think, arguments that has to be made, because people are dying over it, and they're trying to say it's a personal conscience choice, but it's not. Just like he's saying, then you're going to be shunned. Then you're going to be, if you openly advocate that, hey, there's nothing wrong with blood. The Bible in Deuteronomy says choose life over death. And Jesus always broke rules, broke laws when it came to healing and eating on the Sabbath, things like that. He challenged laws. And when it came to blood, even the Apostle Paul says, when you go to the meat market, don't worry about the blood. Feed your family. We ran many videos on that. If you guys have questions on that, anybody that's going to be looking at this, feel free to ask in the comments. Okay, well, I'm not going to run any more of watching Watchtower's video because I thought that was some great news, but I am going to link watching Watchtower in my descriptions, and you can go and watch the whole video. But this guy's doing imagine what he's I'm this is going to be one of the best guys to follow. As far as tickling my heart for the news today, it's this guy, Sam Carling, the MP, and he's calling for action on Jehovah's Witnesses. So I noticed Wally ran a point on him, and also Lloyd Evans just released something on him. So this is all over the XJW News platform. Rick Fearon will probably be talking about it, but this is going to say a lot. The youngest MP out there, and we're going to read about him next because I wanted to know more, and I thought, well, let's just read this together today, and then we can all learn about who this guy is. He says, I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. He says, I believe law on child abuse reporting must change. So there he is. He's the youngest MP, member of the House of Commons in northwest Cambridgeshire. So 10 years before his election to Parliament, Sam Carling was starting to question almost everything he knew. Britain's youngest MP was raised as a Jehovah's Witness and as a child was a regular participant in what he now describes as a high control religious group. But at 11, his strict religious upbringing began to clash with an intrinsic part of his identity when he realized he was gay. Well, that doesn't go good in a Jehovah's Witness household. We had that happen in not my family, but the ex's family. One of her family members realized he was gay. He had to move out of the country. The poor guy had to move out of the country to have a life. But anyways, it's a bad thing when your identity, when you realize you're gay. This is what happened. Carling, Labour MP for Northwest Cambridgeshire, was highly critical of the organization when he spoke last week in the House of Commons. And we heard just a tidbit of that, folks. And again, you guys can go watch the whole thing. I encourage you. And this will give watching Watchtower some spikes on their channel, you know. So he's saying where parliamentary privilege allows MPs to discuss issues without the risk of legal action. So that's kind of cool. He can talk in there and he's not going to get sued for what he's saying, right? So he claimed Jehovah's Witness teachings regularly equated homosexuality with pedophilia. He said he claimed Jehovah's Witness teachings regularly equated homosexuality with pedophilia. And that's correct. That's what the Elders book says. He's going to probably get into that on that video. Now, he said there was a culture of non-reporting and forgiveness for child abusers, and we all know that's true, within the organization, and that it had covered up child abuse on a catastrophic level. Those are some pretty big words, eh? Like, imagine this, the House of Commons, they probably have never heard any of this stuff, these people that are in there. And now to hear this from one of their members, and the guy can't get sued. He can say what he wants in there. He experienced this stuff. So most of it's just based on his experience. So Carling, he's 23. He also claimed Jehovah's Witnesses were ordered to shun family and friends considered to have committed a serious sin in the eyes of the religion. I don't know if you guys can see this. I can blow this up a bit. Should have done that before. There, that's a little bigger. Yeah. So where are we now? So he claimed and he said there was a culture of non-reporting for child abusers, and it covers up child abuse at a catastrophic level. Big words. And it is. I think it's going to come out soon that New York's going to have to release their blue book, their blue envelopes. Like there's thousands upon thousands of them. It's all going to come out. Carling, 23, also claimed Jehovah's Witnesses were ordered to shun family and friends considered to have committed a serious sin in the eyes of the religion. He called for the group to be stripped. Here's the most important part of tonight's broadcast. He called for the group, the Jehovah's Witnesses, to be stripped of its charitable status and is campaigning to improve safeguards against child sex abuse. That's the most outstanding statement tonight, I think.
In the chat where Barbara Anderson said there were tens of thousands.
Of what?
Of what? Yeah.
Tens of thousands of.
Of what, Lynn?
Just tell us, and I'll put your comment up. So a Jehovah's Witness spokesperson told, we totally disagree with all of Mr. Carling's allegations. Of course. Okay, that's funny. We totally disagree with all of Mr. Carling's allegations, describing them as demonstrably false. What?
Tens of thousands of pedophiles or child molesters. That's what it says. There were
Tens of thousands.
perpetrators.
Yes, the blue envelopes. Yes. It's coming out. Anyways, okay, let's move on here. We were taught we were God's true people. Jehovah's Witnesses are members of a Christian-based religious movement, probably best known for its door-to-door evangelism. And the organization claims about 144,000 active members in the UK, about 9 million worldwide. So the UK they're the anointed ones. Whenever you see that number 144,000, doesn't it, as an XJW, don't you like take a look at it? What the hell? They just are saying there's about 144,000 active members in the UK and about 9 million worldwide. Well, Carlin remembers growing up in the organization in the County Durham as a really hard and at times very isolating. Okay, I want to just stop here for a bit. So this Carling news is out, right? BBC's advertising it. The verdict from Norway still has not been out. Now, you're a judge in Norway. You live a life. You go home at night to your family. You do all your judge work in the day. You have, and then at night you're watching news, reading stuff. You're reading about this Sam Carling. And they're going to zoom in because they have to make a judgment on this thing, the Supreme Court in Norway. So there can't be a better time. There just cannot be a better time for something like this to squeak out. And it's going to give Norway that much more solitude in sticking to their guns and what they decided. Sam Carling, he's shooting for the same thing. They do not deserve to be a charity religion. Simple as that. They can't be a charity religion when they hide all of this stuff. So let's read on. Carling remembers growing up in the organization in the county of Durham as really hard and at times very isolating. You're very much taught from at a young age that we're not part of the world and that we are God's true group of people, he told the BBC. And unlike many other followers, Carling was not homeschooled, but explained how you're very much encouraged not to make friends outside of the religion. So, I guess just stand by those kiosks and hand out books, right? Yeah, that's your dream, right? To do that your whole life. I'm going to sign up. Imagine you're at the Kingdom Hall, eh? You're a young publisher. Can I go stand at the kiosk? My wife and I drove through a small community in southern BC. And there was a young kid there at the kiosk and a couple older gentlemen, but the kid was, I don't know, 12. And I walked up and I said, I'm an apostate. I just want to be very upfront. I don't know why I say that, but I just say that because I don't want to surprise people. Once I know they're a JW, I just tell them I'm an apostate according to your religion. I don't get into the explanation. They know what it means. So, I walked up to him and we just started talking, and in no time the other guy was taken down the booth and they packed up and they actually just drove away. Like I was just asking a few things and they drove right away. That's a lot of power when you tell people you're an apostate. It's scary for them. They're told we're evil. We're evil people. Anyways, we're going to move on. That's all coming out. This Sam Carling, this young gay man, he said the experience was made all worse. You imagine, well, we all know, right? All of us ex-JWs, we know what he's saying. And he said barely a week would go by without a sermon about how gay people are evil. He's right. And the religious teachings regularly equate homosexuality with pedophilia. And they are lumped together, he said. And he's right. And Carling was not baptized, so when he left the religion fully at 13, was never subject to disfellowshipping or practice he claims is widespread among members. And he told the Parliament when someone commits a serious sin in the eyes of the religion, their believing family and friends are ordered to shut them off entirely and treat them as though they are dead. Isn't that what we were just talking about? You're treated as dead. The memorial, right? If you don't show up at the memorial, I haven't seen him at all the meetings all year, and he's not showing up at the memorial. He's spiritually dead. He's good as dead. That's what people say. He's as good as dead. They might not say he's dead, but they say he's as good as dead. I don't know. Do they still say stuff like that now? Or has the Jehovah's Witness language got cleaned up a bit? But back in the day when I was in it, that's how it was. They were thought as though they were dead. Why would you waste your time fellowshipping with someone that's not going to make it? This is the workings of a cult, and that's why all of this stuff has to come out. It's been hidden for too long. So speaking to the BBC, he said, I was okay, but there are ample examples of children that grow up as gay in the Jehovah's Witnesses who then go on to die to suicide. And he's absolutely right. That's what happens. Carling said he maintained a good relationship with his family. And in response, the Jehovah's Witnesses said the former congregates are welcome to attend our religious services at any time, and they'll be warmly welcomed. And family relationships and natural affection continue in the home. There's a picture of him. Carling giving his maiden speech in the House of Commons in July of 2024 has spoken out against Jehovah's Witnesses in the Parliament. A lot of people. The video that we see in the Parliament was empty, but there's a lot of people here in that one. So it seems to be a bit of his campaign is to do this. Speaking in Parliament, Carling said there was a culture of non-reporting and for forgiveness for child abusers within Jehovah's Witness communities, with abusers remaining at large. And he's right. All gets hidden in those blue envelopes. And he argued the group systemically failed to report child abuse because of a strong culture of distrusting the secular authorities. Well, yeah, the authorities. This is what confuses me, folks. They don't report the child abuse. Then when the pedophile is exposed in the congregation and goes to jail, if he wants a Bible study in jail, they call Jehovah's Witnesses and they go in and study with him. The pedophile, or the murderer, or whatever. I thought the Bible condemned even that, like when people went to the jails, they were witnessing to the apostles in jail, not the criminals. I don't know. Let me know. Be a good video to think about, but for someone. Okay, well, there is ample evidence that religious leaders regularly stop victims or their parents reporting abuse to police because it will bring reproach on God's name, he alleged. And this is a big thing. Like, if you've been a Jehovah's Witness, you don't have to be one for too long. And you hear that, don't bring reproach on Jehovah. We don't want to bring reproach on Jehovah. You got to wear the right clothes to school. It's just over and over again. Anyways, it's really bringing reproach on the Watchtower is what it is. Their company. They have a company that can get sued. And if there's reproach on it, something, then it can get sued. It's exposed, right? For liability. That's, I believe, what most of this is about. Now, pressed for his evidence by the BBC, Carling pointed to a study commissioned by Australian government that found the Jehovah's Witnesses did not report 1,000 alleged abusers. That is not an accident. It is a systemic cover-up on a catastrophic level, Carling told the Parliament. And the details of the help and support with a child sex abuse or violence are available in the UK on a BBC action line. So it's all there. Now, he told the BBC he did not have figures for the UK because there had not been a detailed study. Asked if he personally knew people who had been sexually abused in the organization, he said he did know someone, but would not share details in order to protect their anonymity, their privacy. And the organization said Jehovah's Witnesses abhor child sex abuse, maintain clear global applied safeguarding policies, and teach that anyone with knowledge of abuse is free to report it to authorities. So let's break that down. The organization said that Jehovah's Witnesses abhor sex. Yeah, that's true. They maintain clear global applied safeguarding policies. I don't think so. You see, if they had clear global applied safeguarding policies, they'd have a list of the pedophiles up on the hall, on the bulletin board or something. Isn't that what they have a list of all the congregation gets a letter of all the pedophiles that live in their territory. So the territory servant has to go to the territory card and put a note in there that so-and-so at that address is a pedophile and it's recommended not to call on him, perhaps. I don't know. You let me know in the comments. Anybody out there watching this video? I'm kind of speaking by the seat of my pants there, so, but that's what I understand. So I don't agree that they have a globally applied safeguard. If you're dealt with in the Kingdom Hall, someone comes forth and says you're a pedophile, say a small girl says something. So maybe the mom goes in with her. And then they get the guy in and the guy says, nope, no, nothing about it. So now it's his word against hers. So now they should report it to the police because the elders are not equipped to handle it. So they resort to their 2-witness rule. Has this guy been anybody else reported him as a pedophile? See, this goes on. In the meantime, he keeps abusing the victim, the pedophile. So they don't safeguard this. And it doesn't get reported to the police. So you have these pedophiles wandering around all these convention sites. Could you imagine? Yeah, I don't think it's dealt with at all. And here's the other thing. The organization said that they teach that anyone with knowledge of abuse is free to report it to authorities. They don't teach that, but it's in the elders book. So if something happened, the elders would say, well, you're free to report that to the authorities. You see, the elders don't report anything. And they should be the ones if they're knowledgeable and they have all the information. So there's Carling is campaigning for a mandatory reporting of child sex abuse. So that's where the elders would have to report. A key recommendation of independent inquiry into child sex abuse, which reported in 2022. But he said the government's crime and policing bill risked watering down the proposals. And he told BBC there are going to be, in the bill, professional sanctions for people who are DBS, disclosure and barring service, regulated. But that's not the case in some religious organizations. And he said for Jehovah's Witness volunteer elders and preachers, there'll basically be no sanction for not complying with the reporting duty. So these elders and preachers, they will have to report. None of this, we just read the Watchtower publishes this all over. And they teach that with knowledge of abuse, it's free to report to its authority. So what the organization says, anybody is free to report to the authorities. Anyone can go to the police. And what happened in my case with my daughter, I went to the police, and the police says we need everyone on board. So what happened is my ex went to the doctor, the JW doctor, and it all got kiboshed. Anyways, that's what happens. Yeah, my wife is right. Anyways, he said for Jehovah's Witness volunteer elders and preachers, there'll basically be no sanction for not complying. So if the elders were aware of it and they had to phone, that's where it should happen. They're the leaders. It's criminal activity. Report it to the police. So the Jehovah's Witnesses disputed such allegations, saying our elders comply with all legal reporting requirements and cooperate fully with the law enforcement. But would a legal obligation really make a difference in an organization that, according to Carling, gives secular laws short shrift? I would argue so, because it would mean that they have a personal stake in it, he said, adding, there would be a significant sanctions for not complying with that duty. A Home Office spokesperson told the BBC, we are committed to tackling the horrors of child sex abuse and getting justice for victims and survivors. That's pretty powerful, eh? The Home Office, the spokesperson, told them that. The duty to report in a bill already carries very serious consequences for failing to make a report, including being barred from ever working with children. Sam Carling, he's calling for changes to the charity law. Carling also wants charity laws to change, exempting groups like the Jehovah's Witnesses, just like what Norway's doing. You know, another one of those dominoes. And there are a lot of small religious organizations in this country who get away with teaching abhorrent things and still are able to be registered as charities, which means that they get various tax exemptions, he said. I agree. That's kind of our fight here in Canada and all over the world. And it's how Jehovah's Witnesses have no transparency. They're classified as a charity. They get all these exemptions. In Canada here, they're sitting on 325 million, and we can't see in the like Raventree Frog said, we can't see where they're using this stuff, how they're applying it to the tax forms. So,
No, but do you know what the problem is? Can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
In Canada, one of the ways to qualify for charity status is just to further religion. That's point number 3.
Furthering religion.
And right now there's talk, they might get rid of that. So if you don't do charity, or you don't help people, or you don't actually get stuff into people that need it hands, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you might lose your charity status.
So yeah, so in Canada, it's very loosey goosey. You can become a charity just because you're furthering religion. Like, that's pretty loosey goosey. Furthering religion, handing out Watchtower and the Awakes. Okay, so in response, a Jehovah's Witness spokesperson said our charities meet the legal requirements for charitable status while carrying out recognized religious and charitable activities in public interest. Right. So that has to change all over the world. They got to make this stricter. It's starting. So this is great. Elected in 2024's Labor landslide, Carling is keen to use his platform to give a voice to other former Jehovah's Witnesses. And there are a lot of people who've left that religion that have the same concerns that I have, he said. But people within the religion rarely find out about them because they're all told the people who will leave are essentially possessed by Satan. And he's right. Possessed by Satan or mentally diseased. And I'm glad that this is getting out, because that's what blew me away when I left. All of a sudden I'm demonized. And that just blew me away. And yeah, that is so diseased, saying that about someone that left the religion. That's a diseased religion. It's coming out. In a statement to BBC News, the Jehovah's Witness Global Director of Communications, Andrew Besu, said, "We are confident that those who know us, our friends, neighbors, and colleagues and local partners will recognize these allegations as baseless and wholly at odds with our conduct and belief." So, of course, we're going to hear that from them. Yeah, and they want to advertise their website, and their website's watered down, so we all know that. So what's nice about Sam Carlin, he has the Elders book, and he can see what they enforce. And that's right, what Lynn is saying. They only have two sides in their minds because they are right. Everyone else has to be wrong. Okay, so that's it. That's the end of that story. Great story. Greatest news I heard all week. Young guy, raised as a witness, and he's verbal, and he won his whatever he's doing there for the MP. He won it by a landslide. So people like him. So this is going to be interesting to follow this piece of news. We're going to move on. There's not much left here. Jehovah's Witness banned from meeting after sexually assaulting 2 members. I don't know if we ran that, but this Daniel, he's 70. He collapsed in the dock after he was convicted and banned for a decade from attending meetings. Yeah. He assaulted 2 people during a religious event. He went to the memorial and targeted a woman there. Started touching her behind, and then he touched the guy's behind too. Like the guy was just weird. Anyways, we did talk about that last week. I'm gonna move on. This is another article. It's I'm gonna redo this. It's in Spanish. Okay, here it is. The partner of the confessed rapist from Libra was arrested after trying to kill him with a pill overdose. Now, I was looking at this article. Again, this is from watching Watchtower. It's one of the articles they had. I didn't see that there was any Jehovah's Witness in here. It was just kind of an interesting article. Yeah, I don't see anything about being a Jehovah's Witness or anything linking this to that. But I think what he was saying, the guy got let out, or whoever tried to kill her. It's just odd. It was an odd case. That's on Watching Watchtower. We're going to move on. Another one, I think, from Watching Watchtower. The judge again released a child rapist arrest after a new complaint. So that was just odd. A child rapist getting let go. You know, again, this is not anything to do with the Jehovah's Witness, but it's just the fact that some judges are lenient on this kind of stuff. And I think that's the real message here. Okay, we're going to move on to Creef's eyesore hotel site labeled too attractive for Jehovah's Witness Hall. I'll see if I can blow that up a little bit on the screen. There's the picture. I guess they wanted to put a Kingdom Hall or something in here. These are all kind of little shops and nice old houses and stuff. There's some weeds here, probably where this land's for sale. It says Crife eyesore hotel site labeled too attractive for Jehovah's Witness Hall. The Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall was proposed for that site. And the plans for the new witness building on an eyesore corner in Crieff have been rejected. So the councillors unanimously refused an application for a Kingdom Hall on the site of a demolished Strathern Hotel. The land at the crossroads of the Kingdom Street and Commissioner Street have been empty and overgrown since the derelict hotel was bulldozed in 2021. But Perth and Kinross planners said the proposed development would ruin one of the most attractive parts of the Crieff conservation area. So this is kind of a historic area. Jehovah's Witnesses wanted to throw a Kingdom Hall right here in that picture, and they said no. Okay, well, there's what Jehovah's Witnesses said it would look like. But they still said no. There's just too much on the news with Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, would you want a Kingdom Hall in your backyard? We know they don't deal with pedophiles properly.
And they are good neighbors.
And they're not good neighbors, no. So I wouldn't want them in my backyard. Small religious organizations safeguarding, what's this one about? Sam Carling over this Labor government's term office. So this is just some more information. By the way, I got all this from Watching Watchtower. You just go to their descriptions and they have all these links. So I just kind of pull them all up, and there's more information on this. So you'll get the links to Watching Watchtower, and then you can, if you want the links, you can have them. Okay, here's the last one. Parliamentative review. This is again just some more research I pulled up off Watching Watchtower, and there's you can watch all the videos of where these guys are on Parliament. So interesting stuff. Okay, well that brings an end to our show for today, folks. You guys have been great. You stuck with us, all 32 of you. And yeah, it's good. Take an hour out, see what's happening in the JW world. But I don't know about you, but I would agree this Sam Carling, this is going to be an interesting follow-up in the UK Parliament. I think for sure this is going to affect Norway. Just give them some feeling like we're not the only ones out here feeling this way, like Norway. The UK, everyone's starting to fall in line. Canada Charity, they're questioning who gets a charity now. Should it be just for pursuing religion? Should we strike that? That's number 3. Strike that, and then, okay, well, once you strike that, it's not about pursuing religion, it's about helping people. Helping people, soup kitchens. Yeah, furthering religion. That's how they're getting charity status. So, anyways, it's too loosey goosey. Things are changing, and think of it, people. We're here. We're seeing all of this change, and so we'll keep up on it with JW Global Watch every Saturday. We'll be here with the news. If you guys have news, and if you can get it out to us, here it is. If you have news, just email us the news, and then we can get that out on the next Saturday. We just put it in our string of news. So there's some great news out there, and we're continually working on finding new news. Okay. Well, what are we waiting for? I think what everyone's waiting for that's coming up is the Norway verdict, and that'll be new news when that comes out. And it should be any day now. Should be any day now. Okay, well, I'm gonna sign off and go outside and enjoy some of the sunshine. You see up here when we have sun shining in, we check our little gauge and it says, "Hey, you're charging your batteries," because this is all off grid. All of my broadcasts are done off grid, and today the sun's actually doing it. It's supplying the electricity. Throughout the winter, sometimes we have to run the generator. Well, every day we run the generator throughout the winter, but the more the sun shines, the more we don't have to run the generator. Okay, well, I'm thinking, yeah, we're gonna just end this stream. We'll see you guys on the next video. Keep living your life with love. Bye for now.